Hi, it's me again, Jan, otherwise known as the Urban Gypsy Crochet. Well, listen to the quiet. Nobody's mowing along this time. No dogs, nobody in the house, just me, little old me. Taking advantage of the quiet, yes. So what have I got to say to you today? Well, I went to, I go to a singing group called Harmony and Health. And we have to wear this sort of yucky yellow. I suppose to make us stand out, I don't know. Anyway, I was cold the other day. It was the sea breeze was coming up where we were singing, because we were singing outside and I was flipping cold, yeah. So I went in the Naked Sheep, which is a wool shop, yarn shop as you call it in the US, in Cleveleys. And I decided I would crochet a blanket. I have to say, how you people crochet blanket after blanket, I don't know. I've only done so much of it. And boredom is seeping out of every pore. Oh. Well, I went to get some chunky. And, yeah, being on a budget like a lot of us are, I looked at the chunky and it was £1.80 a ball. And I thought, 100 grams. I looked at the double knitted, same brand. And they had it on offer. 5 balls for £5.50, I think it was. So, savvy decides I'll buy 2 balls, well, 10 balls actually, use them 2 balls together, yeah. So instead of being £18 for 10 balls, 10 balls cost me, hang on a minute, £11, no, £11, something. Bargain, people, bargain. Anyway, while I was in the Naked Sheep, I got this little on the shoulder. That's a bit funny. And it wasn't the lady from the shop. It was another lady that was buying yarn. She said, "Excuse me, are you Jan?" And I went, "Yeah." "I watch your videos." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." Sadly, I have forgotten her name. So if it's you, tell me, yeah. So I said, "Oh, do you live in Fleetwood?" I said, "You could come along to the, innit?" "No," she said, "I live in Leicester. I'm here on my holidays." She said, "I recognised your voice, actually, rather than your face." So I thought, oh, am I that distinctive? Apparently, I am, yeah. Well, I've got myself a drink. I've got Lucozade, which is very, very naughty. Good job the family are not here, because I would get told off because I'm diabetic and I'm not supposed to have this sort of stuff. But cheers, here goes. I needed that. I needed a little sippity. What have I got on my list? Well, as I mentioned, the Harmony and Health. We actually all have to wear yellow on Tuesday because we're being presented by a cheque from Asda. If you're in the US, it's Walmart, but it's Asda over here. And quite a sizable cheque we're being presented so that we can donate it. We do everything for charity, I should explain. We're not getting the cheque and keeping it, It's all going to charity. So that's that, yeah. Right, I've actually finished the cardigans. I don't know whether you can see or not. Oh gosh, here we go, trying to turn the camera around and round and round. I need to flick that so I can see what you're seeing. I've sewn the buttons on the pink one. Rather nice buttons, if you can see. They've got little roses on them. So I've sewn the buttons on that one. If you're wondering why it's on here, it's sort of my way of blocking. It's not really blocking, but it's just patted out. And the beige one, as you know, well, the cream one that I finished with the rather superb buttons is also laid out. Laid out, no. Yeah, anyway, that's what it is. It is what it is, yeah. She says sitting down again, so I'll show you those, right. I'm a beggar when I'm wearing my jackets for losing buttons. Don't know whether you are or not. So I lost the button off the top. Well, actually I lost a button somewhere else. But what I have a habit of doing, because I'm sitting in my on my scooter, people don't see the bottom button, do they? So I usually, you know, take off the bottom button and put it to the top so everybody could see. Anyway, it's a lovely jacket, isn't it? Look at that. I just love these Indigo Moon jackets. Really, I do. Anyway, I couldn't, you know, find a button, so I sent for some buttons. Where are they? Oh, this is my sewing box, by the way. It's not a sewing box at all. It's an artist box. I actually went, where are we going with this? I'm getting it so you can actually see me. Where are we going? No idea where we're going anyway. The light in the conservatory goes the wrong way. Yeah, I went somewhere. I can't remember where I went. So I said to this lady, oh, that's a nice sewing box you've got there. And she said, actually, it's meant to be an artist's box. It clicks down and fastens. But as I don't do a vast amount of sewing anymore, that's just quite enough for what I need. Anyway, back to what I was talking about before I got diverted. I actually had to send away, all the way from China, some buttons. So I need to find which one looks the best. You know, I'll put it at the bottom and put the bottom button at the top so that nobody will notice. Anyway, I was going to put one on the other jacket. The other jacket, same thing happened to the other jacket. So, once again, I moved the bottom button to the top, thinking I was going to put the odd button at the bottom. Then, looks inside. There was a spare. So I don't have to have an odd button on this jacket. I did look on the other jacket, but somebody had beaten me to it. Oh, I'm not in the right place. That's better. Somebody had beaten me to it. They must have already replaced a button on there. As you know, I don't pay the full price for these jackets. I get mine off the wonderful eBay. But it is a good trick. If you're losing a button and it's like here, take one of the bottom ones off. Put it in wherever it's going to be visible. People tend to look at you there. They don't tend to look at the bottom of your jacket. So that's one good thing what to do. I actually had a friend and she'd lost a button on her blouse. Right in the middle. And I knew there were no buttons like it at all. So I said, give it here. I'll do something with it. She said, no, I'll throw it away. I said, you're not throwing it away. I'll give it me. I'll give it you. So I looked at the cuffs, and the cuffs had the same button. Takes the two cuff buttons off, sews one right in the middle where it was showing, put her two different buttons on the cuff. She goes, oh, aren't you clever? You managed to find me a button that matches. I never told her she had two odd buttons on her cuffs, and I don't think she ever noticed. And I don't think anybody else ever did either. Good tip. Right, what have I got? Oh, the Amazon man has just bought me a new book. Richard Osman, The Bullet That Missed. I've read his other two books. The Thursday Murder Club Mysteries. There's two of those. I can't remember what their names are. No doubt it'll tell me if I look inside the book. It tells you usually what they've done before, doesn't it? Oh, it doesn't in this one. It usually says read the other two books first, doesn't it? It's more or less set in kind of like an old folks' home where they turn into a bit Miss Marpley and they find, what things that happen. Yeah, but the first one was called the Thursday Murder Club. Oh, the other one was The Man Who Died Twice. Yeah. I've read both of those and I did enjoy them actually. So I don't know what that one's like. I can't recommend it because I haven't actually read it yet. It's only arrived about 10 minutes ago and I may be a quick reader, but I'm not that quick. Right, well, what happened with my shawl? Ooh. Oh, that's the wool I have left over. The went in Oiselle. That's what I made the cardigan with. So I've now got 2, 4, 6 and a bit balls. So I've got to think of something to make with them for me. Maybe a hat and scarf. I'll keep going off piste, as they say. Anyway, back to what I was talking about, because I'm getting so easily distracted these days. Call it old age, call it what you will. Anyway, I put 2 shawls that I've made. I put them on the line because they were blocking out, my way of blocking. I've got blocking boards, but there's nowhere to spread them out. So I put them on, and everybody's like, oh, they're gorgeous, oh, they're lovely. But anyway, top and bottom of these, I sold those 2. So I actually had a third ball that I bought at the same time. Shine bags, can't beat them. So this is the other colour that I've got. I hope you can see the colour. Don't know whether it's very good in here. So I actually started another one. Anyway, somebody else said to me, oh, I really like that blue one. So I said, well, if I can get any more blue, I'll make you one. Well, sell you one. Excuse me, but I'm not in the, not a charitable organisation. So I started another one. And I've just got to the colour change where it's gone to the green. So, but that isn't what she wanted. She wanted a blue. So I sent away, well, I bid on eBay, let's be truthful about it, for some blue. Now these are all ever so slightly different. Ever so slightly different, but they are actually supposed to be the same. It's again the same yarn, it's the Resin Bogan, but this is Jacquard. The other one was Mirage, I think. But these are, that one's like a pale colour with the green. That one's got the green. That one's got sort of a tan colours in it, and blue. And these 2 are very similar. You could use those 2 together, couldn't you? But this is Resin Bogan Jacquard. Very fine. It says on eBay that it is a double knit, but there's no way it's a double knit. It said a 4 to a 5mm needles, but no way. I'm doing a 5mm needle, and as you can see, it's very, very open, which is great if it's a shawl, but not so good if you're making a cardigan. Anyway, I still bid on some more, but these all came in looking the same. I've got 5 balls of that, all looking the same. And this is the Mirage. Although I can't see much difference actually in thickness between this one, which is the Jacquard, and this one, which is the Mirage. Can't see any difference in the thickness at all. So, quite a few more shawls will be made. Although at the moment, I kind of asked the lady, I've been doing the craft fairs, a couple. I said to her, are you doing a Christmas one? Because I'd like to put my name down for a Christmas one, not to sell my big articles. But the winter stuff I've got, which is the hats and the cowls and whatever you got. So November the 19th, I think she said it was. Anyway, I put my name down for it. And a friend of mine who I meet at Knit Club, we're going to concentrate on doing headbands, wrist warmers, stuff like that. No, not towel toppers. They don't sell over here. Everybody laughed at Knit Club when I mentioned towel toppers. You're on your own in the US with those, I'm afraid. Everybody had hysterics at the thought of it. Washcloths don't sell. I've tried washcloths. I even tried beautiful shades of washcloths folded them all up neatly, put some handmade soap with them, tied them all in a beautiful ribbon. Zilch. No one was interested. So, anyway, we're going to concentrate on headbands or whatever for the winter one, something small. I'm not taking the big garments. I'm sure they're not wanted, so I'm not taking them, yeah. Sick of being wet through on my scooter. I have 12 more months to go, or 14 months to go, before I can change my scooter into one with a top over. So don't laugh. Look at my beautiful sou'wester. I'm not sure if you wear it this way, or you wear it, choking myself, or you wear it with the bigger bit going down the back to help your neck. I would think that's a more sensible way to wear your sou'wester, isn't it? Anyway, I didn't have a choice of colours, so it's Health and Harmony colour yellow. So I'm going to look lovely, aren't I, going down the seafront with my yellow t-shirt on, my yellow hoodie, yellow blanket if it's ever finished on time, and my sou'wester if it's raining. Just thought you'd like to see that. Give you a bit of a laugh of the day. Anyway, those of you in the UK, I don't know whether you've seen an advert or not, for one of these crochet magazines that you buy in bits. Yeah. The first one to entice you in was either 99p or 1.99. And it's Disney. Which everybody goes, oh, Disney blanket, that's nice. Each week, or I think maybe each week, yeah, you get a different magazine with a different Disney square. Oh, you might think that's nice. No. There's 100 of these magazines to make the blanket. 100 of them. Which you'll get the wool and you'll get the magazine and you'll get maybe the hook. I don't know what you'll get anyway. But if you work that out, the magazine is then selling for $4.99. Work it out. 100 at $4.99 or 100 at £5. So would you really want to pay £500 for a Disney blanket? No. You want to do that? Fine. I mean, do they think anybody's going to buy that? People might buy an odd one or two, but they're not going to buy 100. 100 at £5 each. Crochet Rocks did a very similar article to what I'm saying. She said the same thing. £500 for a blanket. No. No. I mean, the shawls I sold, which were intricate, took me ages to do, very fine yarn. I sold them for next to nothing. I'm sorry, but in the UK we just can't get the money for anything we crochet. We're not appreciated at all. So that's why for the Christmas fair we're just going to do little things, you know, like wrist warmers, headbands, whatever, hats, whatever. Maybe a few Christmas ornaments or whatever a friend decides to do. We're sharing the stall, so whatever she decides to do. But it is very disheartening being in the UK trying to sell crochet items, you know. I look at things, you know, from people in the US and they're getting so many dollars, hundreds of dollars for this and that, and I'm thinking, oh goodness, do I ever live in the wrong country or what? You know, I'm sure if I moved, I could make my fortune if I moved, but I don't want to. I have no desire. I might like to live in different parts of the UK if I ever won the lottery. Ha ha. All I ever win is lucky dips. But the lucky dips never win me anything. I just win another lucky dip. I might want to move somewhere picturesque. You know, sort of like a Miss Marple type village. But it has to have a shop because, as you know, I've only got a scooter, don't drive. But I suppose there's always a taxi. Or there's always deliveries. You know, from the big stores will deliver your food. I suppose there's always that. But I would love to live somewhere picturesque, you know, with a river running through and loads of greenery and flowers. And here's like the concrete jungle, you know. People are like, oh, isn't it wonderful living by the seaside? You go up on the seafront, it's like miles of concrete. Not a tree in sight, not a patch of green. You know, it's just like trundling along on my scooter. The trip to Fleetwood is 10 times worse because it's just concrete. Nothing to break anything. There's a sea on one side, concrete on the other. So you're trundling along, trundling along, trundling along. You get halfway to Fleetwood, you've got that thing that leans. It's like the watchtower thing. I think I've took photographs of it. I don't know why they built it leaning. It's not falling over. They built it leaning. Yeah? And everybody goes, why is it leaning? What was the architect thinking of when he built it leaning? But, So you get there and you think, oh, at least I'm halfway there, yeah? So you go trundling along, trundling along, trundling along. Finally, when you get into Fleetwood, you get the beach huts and you get the cafe and you get the... There is no cafes, by the way, nothing on the way between me and Fleetwood. There is zilch. There's not a kiosk, there's not anything. You could die of thirst on the way to Fleetwood, yeah. If I go the other way, it is a little bit more scenic because I've got Rossall School on the left-hand side, which looks like it should be in a Harry Potter movie. So I've got that to look at one side and the sea on the other. When I get a little bit further down, I've got flat top houses, yeah, with the balconies at the top that overlook the sea. I've got those to look at. Get a little bit further down, I've got a cinema, I've got something else. I've got something to look at when I'm on my way to Cleveleys. But the way to Fleetwood is soul destroying, absolutely soul destroying. I just wish they'd break it up with something. You know, planters with some flowers in or something. Mind it putting it battered by the sea. Anything with a bit of colour. You know, come on Fleetwood, what's wrong with you? You know, it's just the most boring trip. Oh, hello. There's always somebody wants me when I'm on here, isn't it? And I bet it's something and nothing. Let me have a quick look. See if anybody loves me. Anybody wants me. Let's have a look. Oh. Katerina Designs, Weekly Journal 3. No idea who Katerina Designs is. No idea. My timer says I've got 6 minutes left, so I can still waffle at you a bit. Oh, I'm the lucky one. Anyway, I've not got a lot else to say to you, really. Every diary was shut on Monday because it's the Queen's funeral. Somebody did ask me why it took so long between her passing away and having her funeral. But it's not like an ordinary funeral, is it? You've got to organise the troops, you know, you've got to organise the horses, the carriages, the whatever. Everybody's got to be organised, and that takes at least a week, even though it's... Everything like this is meticulously planned behind the scenes, long before the Queen died. I think they've had these plans in whatever, planning, since, you know, the Queen was probably about 60 or 70. But it still takes organising, doesn't it? You've still got to get all your ducks in a row, haven't you? You've got to get everybody in the right place. Any visiting dignitaries that are flying in have got to fly in, haven't they? Anybody that's invited's got to come in, you know. It's all got to be organised. You know, so, I mean, there's a lot of things to involve when a dignitary passes away. I mean, the last big funeral, you know, obviously was Prince Philip, and then before that it was Diana. The first funeral I remember as a child was actually, well, not as a child, as a teenager probably, was Winston Churchill. Because I was too young to remember, you know, the late Queen's father's funeral. I did watch the coronations, as I've said before. We bought a little black and white TV, 9 inches. Not very big. And everybody on the street came marching along the side of the street with the little dining chair. We had a little house, a little 2 up, 2 down, and it was absolutely crammed with people because nobody had a TV back in the day. I remember watching bits and pieces, but I think I'd only be about 6 or 7 when the coronation was. I think I've watched it more later, you know, in videos that have been on telly later. I think I watched it more then than I did actually at the time. I did actually see the Queen. She did pass through Royton, which is where I was born, went to school, and all the school kids, we lined the street with our little flags, you know, waving. I mean, she drove past quite slowly, but it was still too quick to have a proper look at her. All I can remember was she was wearing like a peacock green outfit with a hat. And of course, the age of what I would be, 6, 7 or something like that, I thought she was really, really pretty, you know. Couldn't see the King, Prince Philip, because he was on the other side. The Queen was luckily on our side, so she just did her regal wave, you know. It's that kind of wave, isn't it? She did. I mean, her poor hand must have hurt like anything. Must have ached like mad. Time she'd finished doing her fly past, you know. I don't know quite why she drove through Royton, because it's one of those places if you closed your eyes and blinked. I mean, it's a lot bigger now. But when I lived in it, when I was a kiddie, it was like a little village, and if you blinked, you went through it, you know. And quite why she was there, I really don't know. She didn't stop, I have to admit. She must have been driving on her way to somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, I will be doing my live tonight. I will not be interrupted by any doggos. There will be no Rosie and, well, he said Rosie and Jim, but that's a cartoon thing, isn't it? There'll be no Rosie and Trixie Belle, or Pooh Bum. She has not got any better. They've gone off somewhere. My son's in Barcelona with the guys. Boys' weekend, boys' week, whatever, I don't know, a few days. And I came home on Thursday to find the camper van was missing, and I thought, oh, hope we haven't been robbed, you know. I thought, because Trish's car was there. I thought, oh my goodness, where's the camper van gone? Anyway, there was a note by the kettle. I've decided to go away for a few days. I'll be back on Sunday, so I thought, right, okay. She took the dogs. So I'm on my own, yes. I did the hair again. The last time I did it, it was supposed to be ash blonde. But if you watch Are You Being Served, it turned out more like Mrs. Slocum blue. And I wasn't happy. So I know you're not supposed to dye on top of dye, but hey, oh, I couldn't deal with being blue. Wouldn't mind being rainbow or purple or something like that, but I've never been bold enough to do that to my own hair. As you gathered, you know, pennies. I don't go to a hairdresser. I haven't got like 70 quid or something to spend on a hairdresser. So it's like DIY jobs, which is why it always looks so rubbish. Hair is not my forte. I cannot do hair. Never been able to do hair, which is why it's long and just gets tied back. Anyway, I have been watching videos. As I say, I've been watching Crochet Rocks. I've been watching a very strange lady called Alt Knots. She is a goth. She has her hair, well, at the moment it's day glow green. It was bright red before. And she does some very unusual crochet, but I must admit I'm kind of fascinated with watching her. I like unusual things. I don't like watching people who make blanket after blanket after blanket. That is, sorry people, but it's so boring. This blanket is driving me nuts. If they ever finish it, it'll be a miracle. I'm going to make myself do it while I do the live tonight. Because I want the blanket, but I am hating every moment of it. You know, people who churn blanket after blanket, you have my admiration. Because I certainly could not do it. Anyway, I'm going to sew the buttons on these jackets now so that I can put them away. I'm going to put my sou'wester. Oh, there's my video. My beeper telling me, shut up Janet, and go. So if you're on the live tonight, I'll see you then. Bye for now.